Let's explore the power of silence by listening to it, connecting to it, after I sing into this drum for a minute or so. And please refrain from applause, because that way we'll be able to fully, did I say fully? Experience the power of the silence that is actually behind the sound. Sound doesn't have to be loud to be powerful. The human ear hears at the range between 20 and 20,000 hertz. Ultrasound is above the range of human hearing. Bats, whales, porpoises, dolphins, they all use ultrasound for navigation. And bats, they constructively use sound waves to avoid obstacles. They can hear at the level of 100,000 hertz. So, did you know that wildlife experts, they actually believe that animals' acute hearing and other senses enable them to hear the vibration of the earth, such that it helps them to avert disaster, long before human beings ever know what's going on. In fact, in 2004, before the tsunami hit, the animals, they went for the hills, for the heights, and they avoided disaster. Consider this. Ultrasound, it sees into the womb, and it translates vibration into pictures. Now, our mind logically thinks that it is the equipment that's doing the work, when it's actually the vibration or the silent sound that is translating and creating the predictable system for medical uses. Now, silent sound is so potent that it can levitate matter, and we're going to see this in a moment. But first, go back, if you'll remember the old tale of the magical parting of the waters, where the Egyptians are in hot pursuit of the Hebrews and they're forcing them into the seas. And it actually tells of the prophetess Miriam with a drum in hand, very similar to this, leading the women with drums in their hands across the waters, singing and dancing. Now that's a beautiful tale, but think about it, it's not logical. If they were going across the waters, look at this drum, it's skin, wet skin, no sound. In reality, sound can do this. It's the silence between the sound that's most potent. So let's watch right now as this Russian science exhibition uses silent sound to raise rocks. Is that cool? Now, the amazing thing is that sound waves are the first manifestation from vibration into physical matter. We can sculpt sound waves even though we don't see them. Now, Swiss scientists at ETH University in Zurich have actually proven that sound can part water. So let's look now at 24 hertz of sound parting waters. Isn't that cool? Okay, now watch, if that's not enough, watch this one. This is 25 hertz of silent sound bending to create an upward spiral. Pretty cool. One of the most powerful sounds is the human voice. Our physical voice expresses cognitive sounds, such as I'm speaking in language right now, and you're hearing that in the outside world. The inner voice, the inside voice, we hear inside, but it's virtually silent to the outside world. Now, psychologists at the University of Nevada prove that up to 25% of our waking day is spent silently speaking to ourselves, otherwise self-talk. Now, sound can be used constructively and sound can be used destructively. When we are trusting that silent voice inside, then it empowers us and we can share our ideas with the world. And when we engage in that negative self-talk, it stops us from sharing our ideas with the world. We certainly don't share them in public, and it keeps us from sharing in relationships and contributing to them. When we dare listen to our silent voice inside, it empowers us to express our gifts with others. Have you ever had a hunch about something, anything? And what I mean by hunch is when you stop talking and you hear that inner message inside through words, that's what it means to follow your hunch. And when you dare listen beyond the negative self-talk or the chatter, then you give yourself space and something new can happen. And what I'm suggesting here is that this component is majorly important, and you should really pay attention to it. So, have you ever had a hunch about something, but you couldn't prove it? Yeah? So what did you do? Did you act upon it, saying, if I don't act upon it, I won't know whether it was real or not? And how many brilliant ideas, how many brilliant innovations never see the light of day because we refuse to act upon them until we can prove something outside before we're willing to trust that silent voice inside that's guiding us. In my case, I did dare to listen. And I dared to see things differently and do things differently. And following that silent voice ended up in a 3-year funded medical research project that has today become a benchmark in the field of sound therapy. And following that hunch has taken me from China, has taken me to Europe, has taken me to the Middle East to help other people, other professionals, to trust their voice and to share their voice and their brilliant gifts with the world. But you know what? It took me more than 10 years to utter a word, to dare to speak one word, because, why? I was terrified that they would send me to the loony bin. Right? What? Doesn't make sense, but it's not proven. Yet it had been proven. I'd proven it in my own field, in my own work, but in the modern world, when we want to bring something forward, right? It needs to be proven. We have to prove it out so that people who don't know about it can trust it and to feel safe. So for me, it was really believing that what I was hearing inside that silent voice was real. And if I had not dared to stop and listen to it, if I had not dared to trust what I was hearing, and if I had not dared to have the courage to act upon it, there is absolutely no way that I could be standing here right now speaking to you. So imagine for yourself, how would your life be different if you dared stop and listen to that silent voice within? What would happen if you would dare trust what you're hearing? And oh my God, what would happen if you had the courage to act upon it? You'd have clarity and you'd know what to do next. And we would all benefit from your gifts. And imagine a world where more and more of us are doing that. What kind of world will we be living in? And the amazing thing is, no one knows better than us. You're the leader. It's your voice, and nobody knows that better than you. So just because we don't hear the sound doesn't mean that it's not having an effect upon us and upon other people. Now, the human voice is a bridge between our inner world and our outer world. And in essence, when we go to share our voice, we're bearing our souls, and that is vulnerable. It is. It's vulnerable. So it's no wonder that the National Institute of Mental Health shows that 3 out of every 4 human beings suffers from speech anxiety, technically known as glossophobia. Glossa, derived from the Greek meaning tongue, and phobos, meaning dread, fear, anxiety. The healing sound research that we conducted in clinical settings showed that mindful use of silent sound lowers stress and increases focus. MRI scans show the effect of mindfulness upon the amygdala, which is the brain's fight or flight center. It appears to shrink. Now, the proven system that we found to work over and over and over again to decrease stress and to increase focus had 3 elements. Number 1, connection. Connecting to the source of the sound, which is silence. Number 2, courage. Courage to trust without judgment and allowing the sound to determine the results. And then number 3, confidence. Because once we saw that the system was working, it provided more confidence to go use it in a variety of settings and a variety of applications. So what I would like to do right now is a little experiment. So if you have anything in your hands, pens, papers, put them down. Okay, and notice right now what your mind is thinking. And the thing is, there's no right or wrong way to do this. It's like a before and after experiment. So you can't flub it up. Just notice what your mind is thinking. And notice how your body is feeling, where there may be stress, been sitting for a long while, what the mind is chattering. And then I'm going to sing again into this drum. This is the oldest drum known to mankind. It dates between 7,000 and 10,000 years old. And then afterwards, we'll take another several moments of silence to allow for you then, we'll notice the after effect. Notice what your mind is thinking at that point, how your body is feeling at that point. And again, let's refrain from applause so that you can really experience the full power of the silence behind the sound. You ready?
When our inner voice and our outer voice, when the two of them are aligned and they're working together, the result is harmony. You're centered no matter what's going on around you, and you know what to do next. So why is it important to trust the silence? It's a golden opportunity. When you stop to listen, you connect to your inner calm. And when you trust your silent voice inside, it gives you courage to act upon your hunches. And frankly, what are you missing by not listening to your silent voice inside and not trusting it? Because when you do, you'll hear something new and wonderful things can happen. You give yourself that space inside and amazing new things can happen in your life. What are you waiting for? Thank you.